To the road to growth, success of an entrepreneur.
We've raised the bar.
Learn firsthand from successful business owners and create your own path to success.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
It's time to hit the road to growth with team lead of the Enriquez Group, Realtor Vinny.
Hi, all you Road to Growth listeners. Today I have Jay. He is the founder of Ace of Spades PR agency, and he's in Vegas, up early in the morning for this podcast to give us some insight. Thank you, Jay, for being here today.
Yes, good morning. What a great way to start your day, giving people energy and enthusiasm, excitement. We're global, baby. And this is what I love about in the space that we play today. Like, you don't need to be in an office underground with no sunlight to make it, pump it away. We can literally be at a Starbucks in the morning, 8 a.m. Everyone's crazy, like, give me my coffee, don't talk to me, but we're here.
You know what? It is crazy. Most of my stuff before COVID was actually in person, and now all my stuff is virtual. It's as long as you have good internet and it's somewhat quiet, you can't really tell the difference.
Well, you know what's interesting about that what I've loved in what's happened in the last 3 years now is that we've now had to learn to be okay to be on video. Remember when Zoom was just getting started and people oh my gosh, like I would only FaceTime or video call my lover, my family, maybe my boss, maybe. Now it's like, if you don't show up on video, they don't trust you. Why would you show your face? Why are you hiding? Very fascinating to me in the space I play.
No, definitely. I think that's, in the real estate field, I have a real estate team out here, and I tell everyone, if someone doesn't have some sort of online presence, doesn't have some sort of videos, there's something they're probably hiding. So always be aware of that. I think for anyone you're looking for. So let's jump into you, Jay. If what's your elevator pitch when someone goes, "Hey, Jay, who are you? What do you do? How do you describe yourself and your company?"
Yeah, the good old, like, in the elevator going up to the floor, like, you don't know who this guy is. So listen, man, we help people elevate and amplify themselves in the media. We are the team to get you in the biggest media outlets possible. Forbes, Good Morning America, that blue tick on Instagram. We're the team to make that happen so everybody can know you. And everyone's like, oh yeah, I need to get more known. Yeah, I need to get my brand out there. I need to advertise more.
Yeah, being a mini local celebrity, goes a long way. Well, let's jump into your story, Jay. Rewind a little bit. A younger Jay, was he all about online presence? Was he a social media buff? Was he the life of the party? Who was the young Jay?
Yeah, look, 16 years ago, I'm 33 now. I know I look 22. I'm Asian, so we have that kind of like half mix thing. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I wanted to do two things: stand on stage and tell the world who I am and what I do. And I started my career as a magician. That's right, a magician. Yeah. So I built my career and, used magic as my in for many different cultures, many different countries, many different clients, right? It took me around the world, 35 countries. And throughout that time, I was constantly building my own brand, self-promoting. Personal brand wasn't a thing back in, early 2000s. But after realizing the power of the media and why I got chosen for gigs, it wasn't the talent. I thought I was pretty good. Like, you have to be good as a magician, but you don't have to be the best. I thought maybe because I was Australian and I had a very energetic look. No, it was because I was constantly seen on YouTube. I have 57 million views on YouTube. That gets you in the door. I was on television. I was in the press. I was doing all these things without actually realizing it, because I thought I was a creative, right? It's my ego. Oh, I'm really good. They love me. No. They love that they can make money from you. They love that they know if they use you on their stage, it will attract people to make their clients happy, to give them money again when the sponsorship requests come up. Like, when you think of it from that way, like the Hollywood way, when you're out of it, you understand. So I built that whole career, which was an amazing thing. It took me around the world. It got me to meet so many amazing people. Magic, Vinny, is a powerful tool that you can make a coin disappear in your hand. It doesn't matter whether you're Chinese or Colombian or Australian. You get it. You don't need language. Doesn't matter if you're gay, you're straight, you're white, black, doesn't matter. It's a way to connect with people.
Okay, well, let's rewind. So you're saying at 16, you're a magician. 16, were
Yeah.
you traveling around the
Professional.
world?
Yeah, well, I only started traveling since I was 17, but I was
Okay.
getting paid. I was actually getting paid from 15. I had to go to school and get a letter to leave to go work for McDonald's, and I'd come back with like, hey, $500 cash. Everyone's like, I'm still working at KFC for $4, and I'm like, hey.
Well, okay, I'd be definitely doing a disservice. I mean, if I didn't at least ask you, okay, who are you? I guess, or who are your parents? I mean, if you're
they weren't
16,
they weren't
making
traveling
some money,
gypsies.
yeah, exactly, right. So,
Yeah.
what was the why behind that?
It's a good question. Like, I don't really know the reason why I was the kid to learn it longer. Like, the difference between me and you doing magic is I was just the guy to learn it, like practice more, right? What's like a piano player? He just puts the time in. Dad was the outgoing one. He was definitely the one that to go meet people and say like, hey, this is who I am. He was a money guy, but he was raising money, so he was always charming and taking people out for dinner and sort of the show. But it wasn't in my family. I was sort of like the ugly duckling. Like, it was just sort of like I was the guy to do something different.
So, what was your parents' thoughts, I guess, on you going out there making money? I mean, were they supportive? Did you have a good relationship with them? I mean, what did that look like?
I will always tell everybody. I think anyone's listening, you should support your children to do what they want and be there as like the mother duck. Like, she let mother hen. Like, she lets the ducks go out. They know where to come back to. You got to monitor them. But my parents gave me a lot of. They didn't block me from what I wanted to do till this day. It's a very powerful thing. Obviously dad's an ethnic father, so he didn't get it. He thought he was like, give it a face to like 21, 22. But then, you start to build, and he sees you around the world, and I'm not in jail and I'm not selling drugs. Then they're like, hey, he's fine. So I really feel like I got given a lot of opportunities to fly. And in my opinion, the moment that you clip a bird's wings, like clip a child's wings, you control them, right? And this is going to invoke some emotion to our listeners, but like, same with a partner, same with a girlfriend, a boyfriend. If you try and control them, what do you think they want to do? They want to run away. Let them fly, guide them, support them, because we all know that not everyone's meant to be a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer or an accountant. We all know now in 2022 that the college system is crazy. There are jobs, Vinny, that I believe you should go to college for. You want to be a neurosurgeon? Probably you should go there. But we all know now that if you want to run an agency, you do not need to go to a marketing school to do that.
So you're traveling around. Are you still going to school, or are you not really going to school, or you're kind of going there but not really going there?
Yeah, no. So I finished school. Absolutely. I graduated. Yeah, until I was 17 and a half, 18, right? And then instead of going to, like, most people go straight to college, right? We call university in Australia. I just was like, this isn't it. Like, I want to go straight into full-time performing, And I think the biggest mistake I did, and I don't like using the word regret, but like, I didn't have an advisor, a coach, a mentor. I had some people around me, but a lot of entertainers, a lot of magicians are very closed off. It's not a now these days people are willing to give you advice and help, and if they like you. Magic's a little bit different. It's very exclusive. It's sort of very secretive. It's magic, right? So you have to be in that kind of world to get given the secrets. But then you've also got the secrets of magic and secrets of marketing. I didn't have any clue about that. And I think this is where most people, whether you're a magician or an artist, and we all know, like, people listening right now feel like they're more of the creative type, we struggle with that whole flipping the switch, because you got to put your marketing hat on. And the marketing hat, Vinny, hurts, because the marketing hat reveals the truth that we don't want to deal with. Example, it's not about talent. It's not about how good your landing page is. Sorry, it isn't. Like, we all know that we make decisions based on people, and we make decisions based on if we trust the person. You don't even need to be the best, dude.
How old were you when you learned that lesson?
Like 29, 30.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it clicked. Later. It clicked. It clicked like maybe 2018, 19, before the pandemic. I was like, because you keep seeing patterns. When you travel, you see patterns because you have to learn how to meet people, connect with people. And eventually after like 10 years of like pounding the pavement, I'm like, I'm seeing something common here. Wow, I don't, it's like, how can I get in front of the right person? Likability is important. Like, how do you connect with people? But like, there's a lot of broke, talented musicians that live in their parents' basement that amazing, that could put Adam Levine to shame, could put Mick Jagger to shame. But Mick Jagger's the one that's got the manager, got the contract, got the shows, got the energy to do his thing.
Now you're traveling around the world. You're making a living, a career. I mean, how do you define your life in magic?
When I was a magician, I would get to go some really amazing events, but then I would always want to elevate my own brand. I'm like, I love magic, but honestly, I hit success pretty quickly with it. And when I call success in the magic world, it's this: you get paid a lot of money to do a show, you get to do big events, you get offered a TV show, you get offered a Vegas show, you work with some pretty cool people. Like I ticked all these boxes, and I was unfulfilled. And it's funny, interesting, like when you're at this point where you've hit a high level of success in your craft, do you think like, is this it? I'm like, I'm lonely, I'm unfulfilled. And then your work you get angry at it, you get annoyed at it. And it's like, I'm out. I can't do this. Like, this is not what I'm meant to be. I'm like, I see where the success on a grand scale could be. But I remember getting a contract right here in Vegas to do a show, and I just, the details in the contract was so like selling your soul to the devil. It was like, this isn't it. Like, is this what I'm gonna do for 10 years and struggle? I'm like, no. So I saw a speaker on stage. I was like, I could be a speaker. I saw an MC. I was like, I could MC. Like, I just used magic as the catalyst to be like a Swiss Army knife at an event. Like, you put me on stage with 50 accountants, I got it. You put me on stage with no luggage and a bunch of 22-year-old girls who are in the hairdresser industry. Okay, great. You need to sell stories. You need to be a little bit charming. You need to sing a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you got to work the crowd. And having the magic gave me the opportunity to get in the door and learn how to move people, captivate crowds. And I think standing on stage, public speaking, is one of those things that it's like, dude, I don't know if I would change that skill set, because that's a very powerful thing to have. Because the number one fear in the world, man. Still today, a pile of a pool of sharks and a microphone with 2,000 people. People go, stuff it, I'm jumping in. That's the truth. It's still today number one fear in the world.
Maybe we'll see more of the younger generation change that fear over time.
Yeah, I think the younger generation have realized that they have a voice, and that confidence. That's what I do to people right today. It's really not the bells and whistles of how to get famous. It's, dude, at the end of the day, I give you confidence in yourself to share your story. But no one wants to buy that. It's not sexy. You want to buy, give me Forbes, get me verified, get me on TV. What you really want is confidence to share who you are and get people to validate you and listen to you. That's it.
Now, so you're a magician, right? And you're using the skill set, right, to entertain the masses. Now you want to lean into speaking to the crowd, right? Bringing them up. What are you talking about up there? Because I would think all your engagements have been magic, and so it'd be almost a crutch, right? Okay, am I going to use this as a crutch? Am I going to build a story? Did you have a coach helping you like dissect what you're going to talk about?
I just ran. I'm very much swim in the deep end.
Okay.
Like, I'm the kind of guy, like, let me drown kind of thing. I think that the thing is, because I've been at so many events, what I did was this: I would get booked for a show, and they would give me like 35 minutes, right? I'm like, eventually I can take away some of the magic, incorporate speaking, like messages, because you can use magic as the metaphor, right? So eventually I would get to a point where it was like more speaking, less magic, and then I would change my material, change my promotion to be a speaker with the magic rather than a magic with speaking. And then obviously if you're a speaker, you get paid more, you get better events, it's a little bit different. So I actually went magic, emceeing an event, to speaking. It just sort of like boom, boom, boom.
So you saw that the opportunity was there to make more money
Yeah.
by being a speaker. What was that? What was that window of time where you transitioned from, okay, I see there's the ability to make more money in this field. I'm currently in this field. I'm going to transition over there. How long did it take you from the
Couple
start
of years.
to?
A couple of years. I remember I like to. I'm speed is my wingman, as I tell my clients. Like I move quick, so I don't have a business partner. I'm not married. I don't have a dog. I can run. I don't need decisions. I need approval by anyone else in my life. So when I move on something, I move, and I realize like at the end of the day, like, and now this makes sense to me in the space I'm playing. Messaging is really important. There's a lot of people listening right now that aren't getting the wins because it's not because they're not good. It's not because their promotion's off. It's because people are confused on what they do. Even you could be working in real estate. Yeah, but what exactly do you do? Everyone's in real estate, it seems like. What do you exactly sell? And people go, oh, I didn't know you sold luxury houses. I only thought you did like 500,000 and below. Whose fault is that? Not theirs, it's yours, because you didn't show people that you can sell $5 million houses. But people are silly. People, we believe what we see, So it's like, oh, I thought I would have given you a deal like 2 months ago. And you're like, Anyway, so like I figured out the messaging and then I hit it hard. And I'm like, who are the decision makers? Who are the people to really like get me in front of those people? And they're called, event planners or destination management companies. They're the ones that work directly with like Coca-Cola. It's like the tier is like client, event planner, talent. So I'm like, I got to get everybody to know me, like me, and give me opportunity. And that was the trajectory.
Did you have any system that you learned over time to stay in front of them and
make phone calls, smile and dial, man, smile and dial. But You know what? Like I realized the mistake I made was I didn't go all in with, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I thought that was the move. I thought I wanted to speak to corporations, and I don't know who's up there or how the universe works, but I really think the universe, if it's not working and you're still pushing something, maybe it's not you. Maybe you're just not meant to do it like that. Like, man, I was like trying to push a rock up a hill I was speaking to corporations and they were listening and I would get events, but it was so like soulless after the event because the people wouldn't move. Like I'm just speaking to Citibank. You talk to them about, hey, how to engage people, how to give people a personal experience. And they're like, we love it. They're smiling, they're engaged with you. And then you know what happens a week later? They're in the same boat. Nothing happened. And like, or even an hour later, you just know that they go back to like 9 to 5 work life. And I was like, this isn't worth it. It's like, is this it? Like, do I want to see myself doing this in 10 years? Like, yeah, you can probably do $500,000 a year as a pretty good speaker, like plus, but like, no. So then when the pandemic happened, it was the best thing for me because I couldn't do that anymore. So I had to figure out, like, what do I want to do to find joy, to find happiness?
Is that when the idea of the PRHC comes about?
Yeah. I did what we all do is I went vertical with my business. So I went, okay, what's the closest thing to do what I was doing before? So I started coaching people how to speak, right? Interesting. I would get 55 to 70-year-old people with cash flow that just didn't want to take action. people who are like, I really want to be a speaker. I'm like, I love that. How are we going to get everybody to know us? Oh, I don't want to do that. Well, what's the play then? Oh, well, you can do it. I'm not your manager. Like, here's the recipe. Make it. I'm the chef, but I need you to do it. That was soul searching. Like, that was so soulless too. You're there with a bunch of people with stories. Don't get me wrong. Like, they paid. But you're there and you're trying to move them and they run with excuses, man. So I was like, that's it, I'm out. And then I learned pretty quick, like what was going to work for me. And then I went, I think I've got to get into, I saw some people like these young dudes, like do this social stuff. Like they started making money on their phone. They started like helping people like get in the press. I was like, that's like good. Like I could do that. I could position myself to do that. And then I went all in, I realized that people need help with the promotion. And then what I did is I just worked the game and I called all my contacts in the entertainment space. I said, hey, I want to talk to Forbes. Who do you have? So the advantage, man, that I had that, and to be real with you right now, I'm very loved and loathed in this space now. I'm hearing a lot of feedback, and the reason why is this, because I'm coming into the PR industry and disrupting the market. And what I mean by that is most PR agencies, you give them 2 to 10,000 a month, they pitch, no guarantee, and we don't know what's going to happen. It's a terrible close. Hey, if I give you this money, what's going to happen? Vinny, we don't know, man. Well, so what are you going to do in 3 months? We're not sure. That gives no confidence to a custom business, right? So I came in and I said, well, I have the contacts for Forbes. I can get you to I call it the decision maker of a senior contributor. Hey, this is Vinny. This is his story. What do you think? They'll be like, yes, but not now. Or we like it. Can you do this? That is where all the money is at. If I can get you to the finish line, then all we have to do is just position you correctly for the right time for when they need you. So I came in and I got that relationship with like Good Morning America, like Forbes, USA Today, like these big companies. So I came in and I took a lot of clients quickly because I guaranteed something. If we don't get you in, you don't pay. That is never heard of in PR. And then people started like, how could you? 25 years I've been in this space. I'm like, and I'm very like, I'm convicted in what I believe in, right? I said, well, isn't it about time someone comes in and fixes it? Because obviously they're not jumping because they love you. They're jumping because they're not satisfied. So let's work together, or
So you actually got emails from other PR agencies?
Dude, emails, conversations, like, because I'm very friendly, like I'm very down to earth. I'm a big believer everybody should win, everybody should eat. So I'm like, listen, I went to some of the biggest communication agencies. I said, listen, I want to have a conversation with you. This is who I am. This is my success. Like, you can see me. This is what I've created. This is the problem. I know because I've spoken to some of the clients. Like, it's very easy to find out who they work with. It's on their website. I reached out to them. I wanted to have data. And some of them got on the phone, and it's very confronting because you're changing the industry. You're telling them they're not winning. I said, listen, I'm here to help you. Like, I've got all these people that we can work together with, and some people like get out of my face, and other people are like, this is amazing. But yeah, because you're going into people 30 years in the game, telling them what they're doing isn't working. That's imagine when yeah.
And you're saying too that the influx of talent or people you're getting to sign up with you was pretty smooth. Was it word of mouth? Was it online? Where were you getting most of your business from?
Yeah, like I'm big on, I speak, like when I speak, right? Obviously speaker, so that would help a lot. So I have a big mouth, so I'd go to a lot of entrepreneurship events. I'd find a way to get on stage, whether I paid for it, whether I do a deal with the owner, whether I sponsor it. And my goal is, I tell my team, we got to get me on big stages because that's the number one way to show authority. And then I'd also go to like industry nights, and I'd come in and I'd come in with a different perspective. And it's funny because you go in and not everybody would say anything to your face, but you get a message the next day. Hey, I just want to let you know, really appreciate that. Let's talk. But they don't want to say it in front of their peers, And then some people are like, how could you say that? And, it's like, for 10 years on YouTube, I was like keyboard warrior. People would try to take me down every day. When you put yourself out there, rejection is very, I don't feel it anymore. It's like Neo from the Matrix with a bullet. I moved the bullet away. So I knew if I was going to go this route, I'm going to be dealing with a lot of, and I'm like, bring it, because I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm coming and doing the right thing. And when I think you come in with that conviction and that confidence, like nothing can take you down.
Well, let's talk about that rejection. I mean, you're talking about keyword warrior. I mean, what kind of rejection were you getting?
Oh, just every day. People wanted to, like, anything you can think of, from the way you look, from the way you sound, from like what you do. They want to take you down, They and because when you put yourself out on YouTube, I have 500 videos online, like in 150 countries, from magic tricks. Like, it's a global reach. So you get hit, and then when you have a little bit of fame in the space, and I was doing something once again, disrupting it. I didn't even plan to do this. I was teaching magic tricks online. That's a no-no in magic. It's a secret. And I'm like, dude, these books are at the library. I just made it fun and accessible. Like if you're worried about someone ruining your career, you're probably not a good magician. And I would voice that, and that they didn't like that either because I'm speaking up, So I got at the beginning it was super hard because you're an artist, you don't want to be rejected, but at the end of the day, like you become stronger. And I think a lot of people in this space today, man, the reason why people don't make it because the first hit of rejection is the first time they're out.
Well, how did you build that callus? How did you build that callus of rejection? How did you, like, in the low moments?
Yeah, conditioning, man. Vinny, how did you become good at what you do? It's not one time. How did Floyd Mayweather become one of the best? He's in the ring all the time.
What does that look like? Is it affirmations? Is it thinking about your success stories? I mean, is it just getting a workout in? I mean, what does that look like?
From how to deal with the rejection?
Yeah.
You're not going to like this answer. You got to get in the ring. Like, you do need to look at the past wins. There's a reason why you're at this level. Like, remember the past wins, because it's easier to go to insecurity and I'm unworthy. But at the end of the day, you've also got to put yourself in a place to take it, because like no one can warm themselves up for rejection. You can't. You just can't.
Well, then what was that big why for you then to take the rejection, to keep pushing through the rejection?
Yeah, that's a good question. I know the bigger vision, and then, it's, you listen to other people in your space or you highly value, everyone brings that up. Everyone's like rejection. So you keep hearing it and you keep going, well, I'm not alone. Like, I'm not the only one that feels like this, and I think now what's great about doing these podcasts is people, they need to hear these things, man. We see people's highlight reel on Instagram. We see the car, we see the watch, we see like it. I get it. But at the end of the day, I want to hear this. Dude, I want to hear of the pretty girl that was a Victoria's Secret model that got rejected 1,000 times at agencies. She slept on the couch. She slept on the floor. Now I connect with her, or now I feel. Not like, oh, she was just probably given it. She was probably had a rich man in her life to give her the opportunity. Like, we think we go to that, but there's more story to people, what they don't realize, but no one wants to reveal it.
Well, what's something that when you look back at your life, at your trajectory from where you are today, that you go, oh my gosh, that moment right there was something that I dealt with, and that was a pain dealing with. That was tough.
When I was in America, when I was in LA, 2017, when I came to America, like, I realized that you can't allow other people to give you what you want and your success and opportunities. And I did that. I came to LA with my hands out, kind of like, I'm ready to do whatever. And there was a lot of darkness throughout that 17, 18, 19, a little bit, just loneliness and emptiness. And I did some things I didn't want to do. And, it was just abusing my body a little bit because I just allowed other people to run my life. And I realized you have to take full responsibility of where you're at, and I realized, like, you can't just hope. I understand the whole LA thing, why actors are like this and that. I get it, because I was a TV host. You're hot for a second, you're doing a show, then you go back home, no one knows you, no one thinks about you. You don't know what's going to happen next. The entertainment business, man, is extremely emotionally damaging if you're not in control and check.
Well, for someone listening right now, maybe they're looking to move to LA or just be a somewhat of a celebrity, right? Of getting into entertainment, magic, whatever it might be. What kind of guidance or what kind of advice would you give that person to maybe find a mentor, find someone to guide and find the right person to do it? Is there something you would give them advice on?
Yeah, well, take it away from the entertainment business. What about people who just want to leave their job and go full time into their what they enjoy? I would definitely find someone that you like as a coach, and I say coach rather than a mentor. You should pay them, because when you pay attention, and when you pay, there's expectation that they should get you to a goal, and I like the feeling of exploring. I do like it. Like, I'm not one of those kind of people that always need to have a coach around me. Like, I use people in my life for certain reasons. but I definitely think like you need to make sure that you have someone there. So when that feeling of insecurity and unworthiness and you feel like a piece of shit comes up, because you will, you need to be able to give it, like, bounce it back from someone, like having, that's like a therapist on speed dial, because if you keep bottling it up like I did, you will find vices to escape reality, whether that's drugs or alcohol or sugar or TV. It doesn't matter. It's all just a vice, and you got to be really self-present for that.
Where do you see your business, yourself, going in the next 5 years?
Hopefully we're still here, man. This whole pandemic thing. No masks. No, hopefully no masks. Now, you know what? I really want to go global. My idea is I want to have 5 global cities around the world. I want to have a media agency, like a whole, not like an advertising agency, but like a global media brand. Because I love talent. I love people. I love entertainment. I love movies, and I love, that ideal. And it's sort of like PR has allowed me to understand how people think more and how to get people to the next level with what I do. I just feel like with my lovingness of travel, I want to have multiple different cities. So, I could be a bit of a Richard Branson, just, hey, book the jet to Japan. We're going to the Japan office. I like that. It gives me the chance to be in different countries and then build with people too,
Thank you, Jay, for being here today on the Road to Growth podcast. Any last words, last insight? If people are listening and they want to hear more about your PR agency or maybe speaking engagements you're going to be doing, what's the best way of them reaching out to you?
Yeah, well, before I tell them how to reach out to me, I think the last thing I'll say, Vinny, is you got to be really careful of the words we tell ourselves. Every client that I work with, they always say, I'm shy, I'm an introvert, no one wants to hear my story. And I'm like, who told you that? And the pin drops and they go, I told myself that. And I'm like, dude, the words you tell yourself can make you die or make you fly. Like, seriously, I'm shy. Okay, great. So who cares? Like, you are allowing other people to give you validation of why you should be where you're at. That's not acceptable. So, like, be careful of the words, right? And then if you have to write the words out and rip them in front of you, if you have to burn them, like, whatever you need to do to be present to what you're telling yourself is powerful. So, that's super important. And yeah, like if people want to, bring me to their event and have me move people out of where they're at to the next level with them, reach out to me at aceofspadesagency.com. Or yeah, if you want some PR strategies, ways to promote you, ways to get yourself out in the media, the way that works, hit me up on Instagram too, at JJLive, JAYJAYLIVE.
Well, again, Jay, thank you for being here today. I think everyone listening, the last nugget right there that Jay talked about, be careful what you say to yourself. And also, if you're afraid to tell your story, people want truth. If you're willing to be honest, that's what people want. So be honest with who you are. Be honest with people out there, because I'll be honest with you, you're not alone. There's someone else going through the same stuff that you're going through. And if you give them the power to hear your story, they go, oh my gosh, if Jay did it, if whoever did it, you know what, I can do it too. Thank you, guys. Please subscribe, please share, and go in the show notes and go find Jay. Bye, everyone.